people. You're in tune to episode 20 of the D&D Football Factory podcast. I'm Dubul Dee, and I've got my co-host from our Saturday morning radio show on Top FM 95.5 FM with me, D-Man in the place. What's going on, D?
I'm all right. Good evening, people. I'm good, man. Good, nice and relaxed, ready for the Premier League to return. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good. And for this episode 20, vital statistics, we'll be going through basically just a partial mini review of the season and giving our predictions for who's going to win the league, qualify for the Champions League, relegation, and if time, might touch on the other competitions as well. And we're going to have our overachieving team and underachieving team of the season so far. We'll come back and review this right at the end of the season. But as we're coming at the end of March, international break, perfect time to do something like this. And we've got two of the normal crew with us, as well as our special guest. Well, you might as well say he's part of the Football Factory because he's been on half of our podcast anyway. So first of all, we've got Big Sam.
Yes, people. How you doing? Good evening.
You can sound a little more enthusiastic if you want to. looking like Repo Man, yeah. Goodness me. Right. We've got FBJ in the house.
King of the North is here. It's about time we did another podcast.
The reigning.
That's right.
Defended.
Undisputed.
It's written in my contract. That's how I get introduced. If it's not, then there's a problem.
What the people want to know, FBJ, is are you gonna unify the belts on Sunday? That's what the people want to know.
Yes, I am. There you go. One champion, one face. That's what the fans want. That's what the people want. I'm here for the people.
Is that what the housewives want? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the housewives demanded my presence. So there you go.
And last but never least, my mentor in the building, the king of shoot the defense. Yeah.
Yeah, man, do you know what? I didn't even know that FBJ had a face. I've never seen him before. All I knew was a voice. Yeah, so it's like when Rey Mysterio had the mask taken off. I was like, is that what he looks like?
Just for you, Stel. Just for you. The face is here.
Thank you, man.
It's
Sting!
We've got Stel from Shoot the Defense in the house as always, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Thanks for the invitation. It's always a pleasure, never a chore.
Where's my Modia hoodie, man?
I told you I'll send you one.
Where's my Modia?
You haven't given me a dress, but you're like, I'm not going to use my government name.
Where's my Jewish t-shirt? What's going on?
So I'm gonna, when I see him, I'll get one. I'll see if I can get you a Hamshik shirt as well, because I think they played together for Slovakia. Yeah.
Hey, that's that used to be one of my favourite players, man. Man, like Marek Hamsik.
I used to have his hairstyle when I had hair before I had a child, and it all fell out.
Oh man!
I don't know how you still got hair, bruv. Honestly, like
I've got hair for everybody on there, man. No hope,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, bruv. Let me stop. It's been peaked
end up like Jada. Fucking hell.
Oh, it's been peaked since the pandemic. Help me out, D, man. D, why you being greedy out there, man? Help me out, bro.
I've got to stay blessed somehow, man.
Oh, right. So let's get into it. Remember, as I said, radio show Saturday morning is 10 a.m. on Top FM 95.5 FM. That's where you can catch us every week. But we should be banging out more podcasts. But when we get the crew together, we can give you some sporadically, right? So, please use the hashtag Footy on Top for anyone that listens back for any queries or questions or anything that you want to say or put forward to the crew. So, in terms of the Premier League, how we do this? We go from back to front. We're going to start with relegation, or we're going to go from the top and work our way down.
Let's start with relegation, man.
Relegation.
The
Quagmire. Well, look, we'll start with you then, D, because I don't think your team is going to be in it. I've been calculating up my table with my put some quick predicted results in terms of who the three that I think are going to go down. Who are your three?
Okay, so I've always said that Watford and Norwich are going down. I've said that from the beginning of the time. So I think those two are dead sets to go down. The third spot is a difficult one because Burnley still have games in hand, and still capable of putting a semi-run together of results when you least expect it.
They've got 11 left, isn't it? 11.
Yeah. Everton, as poor as they are, they still have the players to get them out of trouble and they've got the games in hand as well.
Do they have the manager? Way!
Listen, he's not going to be there long term, but there's enough there to just get them out anyway for the season, I think. Yeah, although they've got a difficult run-in. I still worry about Leeds because yes, they've had two very good results. Let's be honest, the Wolves one was fortunate because of that sending off. Had Jimenez not been sent off, they would have got clapped. But they got the result. But you still see they can't defend. They cannot defend and they allow too many chances. So, who else is down there? Because, listen, Newcastle are not mathematically safe. Yeah, and I still think it's got to be a while before we are safe, to be fair, because we've got Spurs next, then Wolves, and we've still got to play Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, you know, so it's not a given just yet, but we should have enough. So I'm gonna say, now you know what? I don't care about the games at hand. Burnley, yeah, because they've got Man City next, and they should hold us. They should lose, not hold us, but they should lose.
Yeah.
If they don't beat Everton midweek, I think that's it for them. I think that's it. So
the other teams above Leeds, the Brentford, yourselves, Brighton, Palace.
Yeah,
No, actually, I'm not even putting Palace. I say
don't put Palace in there. Don't bother putting Brighton in there. Brentford, I think, will be okay, and I think Newcastle will be okay, especially because we've got the players to come back as well. So I don't think we'll. I think I calculated. I think we'll end up on something like 43 points. I think we'll end up. So I think we'll be safe before the final day. It can't go down to the final day. It can't because
you're playing Burnley on the final day, aren't you?
Yeah, Sky was hoping that that we'd be in this relegation 6-pointer in the final day, and I don't think it's going to get to that. But we still need to get the points on the board. But I'm going to say Burnley because listen, Sean Dyche has done a very good job, keeping them up with a limited budget and stuff. But come on, man, they're awful. There's no room for that kind of football in the Premier League, man. Get them out now. Enough's enough. Where is Burnley, bro? No. Like
Kabaddi FC.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, it's time they go in it. It's time they go. So I'm gonna say Burnley.
Right, Uncle Stel, I'm gonna go to you next because you're the one who gave Burnley their Kabaddi tag. Who are your three out of as those teams there? So we'll say Brighton, Newcastle, Brentford, Leeds, Everton, Burnley, Watford, and Norwich.
It's a difficult one for me, and I'll tell you why. Burnley have got City at the weekend, which I honestly believe that Dyche has written that game off already. I don't expect Burnley to go full pelt. Yeah, and then they got Everton next, and then they got Norwich next. So the next two games after City are clearly pivotal, but they don't score goals, or they don't score that many goals, do they? And Weghorst is, I don't know what he's doing, in all fairness. I honestly don't. Only Norwich has scored less goals than Burnley this season, so that says it all. I think Watford can get out of it. I really do.
They've got the firepower.
Yeah, they do. They do. They got Cucho, the Colombian.
I think he's from Ecuador.
Emmanuel Dennis.
I think he's from Ecuador. Or Venezuela.
I can't get those two mixed up. Jesus. Emmanuel Dennis. Obviously, he's going to be hurting following the exit for the World Cup. Josh King. They've got they're efficient.
It's
I know,
Mayor Scar.
obviously. Yeah, they've got it in them to score goals. You know, I think they've scored just as many as Everton this season, haven't they? So I know that might not be saying much, but under Roy Hodgson, they look to be more stable, I guess is the word you can use. I think Norwich are as good as down. They've lost their last 5 games, haven't they? So that's not looking good for them. So I think Norwich and Burnley. You know when you see a team and you think, how long can they last? How long can they hang on by a thread? That's Burnley, and I think they haven't invested their money well in January. In all fairness, so I think Burnley and Norwich are going to go. As for the third team, as I said, I think Watford will get out of it, and I don't think Lampard is a particularly good manager. I'm just going to say it. I don't think he's particularly good. But you know when you get a feeling that because of his name and because of the romanticism that goes around it, and you get the feeling that after that handball decision against City that didn't go their way, they might start getting a few little decisions. You know, and if Harry Redknapp is as influential as we might think he is, I don't know, man. I think they might get out of it.
Were you saying having brown paper bags, yeah?
No, I'm just saying, I think out of nepotism alone, Everton are going to manage to stay up. You know, I mean, how bad has their season been? We're hearing about financial losses. And let's be real, as an establishment, the Premier League or England do not need a club like Everton outside of the Premier League. You know, they're the second biggest team in Liverpool. They've got a new stadium being built. I mean, it would be a financial disaster if they went down. Didn't they report losses of like 150, 200 million quid this week? I mean, that's their fault. I mean, when you spend 50 million quid on a guy that allegedly is been touching up kids, then you got a problem. Right? I'm just telling you like it is. It's not a shot. It's what it is, right?
Talking of that, I was watching Taxi Driver yesterday, but we'll leave that there. Right. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, you know. But then again, you got Leeds who look to be playing much better under Marsh. They're more safety first. With Bielsa, they were just like headless chickens running around. You know, if you want to talk about kabaddi football being Burnley, I'd say Leeds were like hungry hippos. You know, just frantic with no plan. Just keep hitting the thing and hope that something's going to happen. They're hungry hippos, right? But I don't know. They're playing better football, so I can't give you a straight answer as to the third team is going to be, because each one of those candidates, they've got it in them to stay up. But when you look at it, you got to have the points on the board. And at the moment, Leeds have the points on the board. Everton have the games in hand. But with Calvert-Lewin back, he's obviously sorted out his driving issues. Maybe he's going to be, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, look, I don't have anything against Everton, but I'd love to see a massive team get relegated. I'd love to see it happen. I'd love to see how they react next season.
I'm with you.
But you're a Liverpool fan, so you'd love to see them go down. But I'd love to see a massive team get relegated just to see how they would cope in the Championship, because we always hear, okay, look what happened to Forest. They're a massive team, man. You know, 2 European Cups. You can't knock them. Like, historically, they're a massive team. Can you imagine if Everton ended up like that? I mean, I'm not saying it because of anything against Everton, but in a perverse kind of way, I'd like to see it happen.
They've not been relegated before, have they? They've never been relegated.
Many years ago, we're talking, what, in the 20s or 30s or wherever it was? I don't even know.
Well, maybe once. I think Arsenal's the only one who hasn't, isn't it? Or something?
Possibly, yeah.
They bought their way out.
Let's give them a trophy for that. You know, might as well.
Right.
Now, that's the time when you should have gone, oh.
No, I get it enough from Arsenal fans. Even when I'm complimenting them, they're having their own. Jesus. Yeah, right.
He makes it known on his show on a Saturday morning. These Arsenal fans again. I've been nice to you. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Right. Jabroni.
The last time I was on here,
Jabroni, do you even care, actually? Because I know you're more concerned about the teams coming up. You don't like yo-yo teams.
Well, this is it. We don't need any more
How'd you get to
Fulhams,
protest at Craven Cottage?
and the West Broms, and these yo-yo clubs who are just there just to fill up the space, and then they'll get relegated.
Did Fulham beat
They
you
should be banned.
last season at Anfield?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, go away, D.
Oh, fair.
It doesn't matter. You can take your shade elsewhere. It doesn't matter. I'm making a valid point here. Fed up with
Hang
these
about.
yo-yo clubs.
If Saudi money wasn't involved, would you be saying Newcastle or a yo-yo club?
No.
His eyes just went.
No.
Triggered. Featuring Stel Filiano.
Nah. They got a few more relegations to go before they're in that category.
We ain't been relegated again.
I think because when I was on here, I said this was just before the January transfer window, and I said Newcastle would effectively spend their way out of trouble, and that's what's kind of happened. So really, for me, it's apart from the ones who are already in the bottom three now, you're looking at Leeds, you're looking at Everton, and I think Leeds got themselves out of trouble with that Wolves victory. I think they're just too far ahead. They're just too far ahead. I think it's the ones who will go down would be the ones that are still there in the bottom three. I think Burnley, you guys made a great point. In fact, that Burnley, and I thought, they got the games in hand. They'll dig out the results. I still think that they're capable of eking out a big result if needs be away from home, and they'll find a result from home. But they can't score goals, and everyone around them, that's who they need to overcome. I've got some sort of firepower. Everton, you can see, could eke out a big result at home. I think their home form will keep them up. Leeds, the points they've got, I think it's just too much. Watford, I think they've left themselves a little bit up too much to do, because you also have to look at the goal difference. Although it's not a lot, it's still inferior to Everton. So that's effectively another point. So I think ultimately it's been the ones who are there now in the relegation zone, in the quagmire, as Big Sam likes to say. I think that's how it will stay.
Cool. Talking of Big Sam, who were your three to get relegated?
I'll have to concur with FBJ here. I think the three that currently occupy the quagmire in the relegation zone are the three that are going to go down. Norwich, despite change of manager, they had a bit of a rally, won 2 games in the trot, but they haven't won any of their last 5. So, as we said before on the show, Dean Smith is preparing for life in the championship, and I think that came from Stel in the beginning. Burnley, as much as I go on about the turf, my boys at the turf, I think it's time. I think it's time for Sean Dyche to go back to the championship. They're getting turfed out of the division, mate.
Cool.
Yeah, they're getting turfed out of the division. The acquisitions of Venkboys, and even my man still there as well, Cornet. I mean, they've got Man City next, and I had a feeling that they may get some sort of result. But Man City, remember, they drew against Palace, so they're going to be like hungry wolves, going after blood. So Burnley may get an absolute slapping in the next game. And as for Watford, change of manager again. Defensively, they look slightly better. Chucho Hernandez showing a bit of form. Emmanuel Dennis, not so much as earlier on. Even though I've got all my chips in him in FPL, not done me any good. But yeah, it's they may win one of those. Even all of those three may win the odd game, but it's not going to be enough. Everton, that Newcastle game, in terms of footballing quality, it wasn't great. In terms of everything else, the guy pinning himself to the goalpost, some of the tackling, the decisions, and everything else going for it apart from football. But the atmosphere was fantastic at Goodison. So I think something about that game, that result, will drive Everton to safety, and I think Leeds will also be fine as well.
Well, Everton just got pumped in their cup by Palace.
Mm-hmm.
Surely their confidence is going to be shattered by that.
But for league, I mean, it's better that they're out of that competition and then they can focus on survival. If I'm being honest, it's a blessing in disguise.
The funny thing with Everton is that looking at their remaining games, I only think that they're definitely going to beat Brentford. And even that's not an easy tie. Well, as I say tie, it's not an easy game. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna go with the three that I don't remember to go down, but only just because I've got Norwich getting no more than 24 points. I've got Burnley. I've only got them getting 31, and then Watford on 30 rather, and Burnley only on 31. But you just know that even if they do go down, Burnley are going to have something to say. They're gonna mess up something for someone, whether it be within the title race. Those City are coming up. It looks like you're expecting City to absolutely smash them. Whether it be that, or and they're playing teams. They're perfectly capable of getting results, Burnley, against Everton, Southampton, Watford, maybe even Wolves, and obviously they play Norwich, which is a massive 6-pointer. So I think Burnley are going to fight this until the last day, but it might just be just because of the fact they don't score enough goals. It might not just be enough for them. So I'm probably going to go with Norwich, Watford, and Burnley. But I don't know. I've got this sneaky feeling about Burnley though. So then it would be. I'd have to go Leeds. I think Brentford with those wins. Those recent wins, obviously they lost to Leicester. They had enough chances to get a draw there. But I think that was enough for Brentford to do it. But still, I don't know with Leeds. As much as I know that they can cut teams open and score against them, even with Marsh in charge now, it's so many injuries and that at the back. I don't know. So with gritted teeth, I'm going to go Burnley, but it could be. It might be Leeds, you know. It might be Leeds. But I'm going to go right as of now. I'm going to go with Burnley.
I got a question. Do you guys think that Watford would have stayed up if they got Hodgson straight after? I've forgotten the name of the manager who was there at the beginning of the season, who actually didn't do in terms of the results. It wasn't a bad string of results, but instead of going for Ranieri, would they have stayed up if they'd gone for Hodgson? I mean, they still might stay up, but like, do you think that they would be a bit further up the league?
I don't know about that. I just think anyone who's in charge, I don't think their defenders. I don't think their defenders are good enough. Yeah, I don't because Ranieri was in charge when they sacked Man United, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't think their defenders are good enough. But I said that at the start of the season. I said that usually, and to an extent, I'm contradicting myself because usually I say that if a team's going to stay up, they need someone to get 10 to 12 goals, and Dennis, I didn't expect him to be him because he's never been outrageously prolific in his career. But I was saying that they could get that in him or King. So I was saying that it will be their defence that lets them down. I'm not a huge fan of Troost and Kong or Kafka or any other centre back, Capacelli. These guys, I'm not massive.
What they got now?
How
many points has Watford got now?
Watford have got
22.
22, yeah, 22.
I've got them finishing on 28 points.
Ooh, I had them finishing on 30, but still that would have them going down. So we're on the same wave. We're on the same wavelengths there, but that will still put them down. But look, Ashley Fletcher's not even got any pitch time this season. You mean Cucho's only just getting his time now? I spoke about him at the start of the season. Me and Sam did a preview of the season on the radio show. So Cucho, Ismail Assar, obviously the same names that Stel was saying earlier. But I just think defensively, they won't have enough to keep them up. But saying that if they can keep most of that core together, to FBJ's discretion, they'll come back up again.
Well, if their keeper doesn't focus too much on his fucking podcast and having a camera in the goal, it'll be all right, isn't it?
The cycling goalkeeper. Yeah.
Fucking
man.
idiot.
The cycling keeper, man, like Foster. now, Still, we used to play for your club.
Yeah, and what did he do?
Listen, the best thing he said is about the atmosphere at St. James's Park. That's the best stadium with the best atmosphere. So I let him off.
Man like Ben Hameen Foster, you know. You get me? Man like Ben Hameen. Right, so that's relegation done. So let's go up then to who's going to be the 5th, 6th, 7th. Who's going to get those Europa League and Europa Conference League places? And this could be Contra. But in fact, no, you know what? Actually, we'll do these together, right? Champs and thing, because would we agree? No, Arsenal are only 5 points behind Chelsea. We agree that
Chelsea
Chelsea will still come third, right? So let's go 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So then it's less. Who's going to get 4th, and then we can sort out the Europa League places. who wants to go? Who wants to go first? No, actually, I'll go first because I just went last on the relegation one. I'll go first because I've been hurting my head calculating, right? what exactly is going to go on? Have they got a date for Tottenham and Arsenal?
Nope, they're trying to squeeze it in to make it so interesting. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to
because this is the tricky one here. When I calculated without putting that game there, I had the most that these not could get on. I had it for going from 67 points to 69 points because I think United might fall too short. And at the start, I thought that it would be them because I still think I don't think the players have bought fully into what Rangnick's doing. So I'm not sure that they're going to have enough, regardless of how many goals that they score. I still think that they can drop some silly points, and they've got to play Liverpool, obviously. And Arsenal, they've got to play Arsenal. They've got to go to the Emirates, haven't they?
Yeah.
United, right? So that game is vital. So as it stands, it might shock a few. I'm going to go with Tottenham 4th, you know. I'll flip-flap between the 3 all season. I think that they're going to nick 4th from Arsenal by 1 point. Right, by 1 point. So then that would leave my Europa League positions would be Arsenal 5th, United 6th, and then West Ham 7th. But Wolves are not gonna. Wolves are gonna get. Especially if West Ham can somehow get through in the next round and then go on to play Barcelona, whoever. I think they'll look to win the Europa League, and Wolves might even be able to sneak 7th.
Let's be real, bro. If they get through, they're gonna play Barcelona, and Barcelona will slap them. Yeah, slap them. I'm telling you for free, they will get slapped. This ain't Sevilla. This is Javier. You're getting slapped.
Man said Uber stacking.
Hat trick. But anyway, we digress.
So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll flip flop between the 3 teams all season. Start the season, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be United, and I went Arsenal, and now I'm coming with the late change. I'm going Tottenham. I'm changing like the weather out here. So yeah, Tottenham, Arsenal, United, West Ham.
Anyone want to go next?
Well, Jabroni were very loudly there. It was like interesting.
I think West Ham are out of it. If we're talking about that 4th place, I think West Ham, the defeat to Spurs, that's them gone, and Wolves, whatever faint hopes they had, the Leeds games put paid to that. So you really are looking 1 from 3. I'm gonna say my United. It goes against complete logic, but the firepower they still possess on paper, even though they're not clicking, and Ronaldo's still there, where they can turn it on. That's it. Arsenal are a better team than them in terms of form, and they're playing as a better team. Conte's getting results. I think the whole win lose win is kind of, he's getting some results. But I still think when it comes to the crunch, when you got that attacking verve, I still think United.
They're 4 points. That's a lot of points Arsenal have to drop there then, because obviously they still got to play each other. But Arsenal have got a game in hand, and they're 4 points ahead of them.
Yeah, but their game in hand is against Chelsea. Arsenal's one. So it's not like gimmies, you know. They've got to play Chelsea. They've got to play Spurs. They've got to play Man United. These are, you know, they're the best team out of everyone in terms of form. but I'm still looking at the individual quality there, and I still think they can possibly turn it around, because you could put a blanket over them, and there isn't that many points difference between all of them. So I'm going to say Man United. I've stuck with them. I think they've been poor this season, but I still think the quality there at the sharp end will get them over the line. Just
Fourth and Europa.
My Europa
in the Conference League, and your favourite competition. You and Brendan Rodgers' favourite competition, the Europa Conference League.
I think, okay, so United will get fourth. I will say Arsenal will get fifth. Sixth will be Spurs. I actually think Wolves might finish seventh, ahead of West Ham, because of what you guys also said as well. I think West Ham, Bowen being out, has really hit them from a league point of view. They managed to get through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, but I think that whole push, and they'll probably throw all their eggs in one basket regarding Europa League. That might just see them tail off a little bit in the league. So yeah, that's my outlay as to who finishes where in the mid pack of the Premier League.
What was that, the X pack? Mid pack. Cool. Right. D,
I let Sam go first.
Oh, you don't want him to go for your homework, yeah?
Yeah, Arsenal are the form team, and they're fourth, and they've got a game in hand against Chelsea. But I've been saying, like FBJ, I've been saying Man United. I just feel as if they will sneak it. And with Arsenal, if you look at their remaining fixtures, about two of them, you could say, they're definitely going to win those two games. I would say possibly against Brighton, Southampton, but they've got games against Palace away. They got to play United. They got to play West Ham away. I think the run is a lot trickier than a lot of the fans are saying, and I just feel as if they will falter. I can't trust them completely to solidify fourth.
Right, man, falter with chest.
I think they'll falter. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'll be quite nervous. I mean, if they prove me wrong and they win, like say, their next 5 games, then they're on course. You know, I can't argue with that. But I mean, Palace is next, and then we've got Brighton at home, Southampton away, Chelsea is meant to be the game in hand, and then it's the United game, and then after that they've got West Ham at the London Stadium. They're gonna falter. And I think, like if we just saying, there's something about Man United that in towards the closing the end of the season, they just managed to kind of do what needs to be done. I mean, when Oli was in charge last season, they got fourth, didn't they? So
they were second.
They were second.
Sorry.
I think you're thinking about the season before.
Season before, sorry. So yeah, I don't see them doing it. So Arsenal for fifth. Tottenham, who have also done well in recent weeks, sixth, and West Ham seventh.
Cool. All right, let's go still. Then D wrap this up, because I can tell by looking at his face, D's got something in the story. He's going to cuss one of us. Still, they're saying your team are going to get fourth. Are they?
Before I answer that question, I'm just going to say this, and I'm not saying this to be controversial or anything, but there's a big chance Chelsea might end up fourth.
Ooh.
And the reason why I say this is because they've got Brentford at the weekend, then they got Real Madrid, then they got Southampton, then they got Real Madrid, then they got Palace in the semi-final, then they got Arsenal. Now, something tells me that they might take the foot off the gas, Brentford and Southampton. And we know that when they go to Southampton, they do struggle a little bit. And Brentford's never going to be an easy game, especially Tony being in form and then picking up with Eriksen doing well, I think Chelsea might slip up.
Brentford really gave it to Chelsea in that game at their ground. If it wasn't for Mendy, they would have conceded about 5.
Chelsea might make some changes.
Can I just say, real teams go to Brentford and Southampton and pick up 3 points at each.
Here we go. Here we go. Real cheese.
I had to throw that in there, right?
Bruno! The real Bruno.
But yeah, so I think there's a big chance that Chelsea might slip and then fourth. And I think Arsenal are going to get 3rd place, man. I think with the amount of games they've got left, without the distraction of Europe, they've been lucky with injuries this season. They haven't had that many big injuries. I think Arteta's doing something really good there, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, because don't forget he joined the club at a time when it was very, very toxic on and off the pitch. And granted, a lot of his signings were very questionable, like Willian and Marie, but they backed him in the summer. He brought in a lot of players to solidify them defensively. The goalkeeper, the signing was very questionable, but he's proved everyone wrong, or most people wrong, and Arteta's proved everyone right. He got rid of Aubameyang, Ozil, Guendouzi, Kolasinac, that little clique. That toxicity's gone. Odegaard is looking like the player that Real Madrid wanted when they signed him. Players like Tomiyasu, that Tierney's been brilliant. Saka, undoubtedly one of the best players of the season. And if I remember rightly, after the final with England, I said Saka might have a similar season. I wouldn't say in terms of success, medals wise, but in terms of his the trajectory going up in terms of his ability, similar to Beckham when he got sent off against Argentina in '98. I thought Saka was going to have a similar kind of, and it's pretty much worked out that way in that sense. So I think Arsenal might get 3rd place. I don't think they've got the, what's it called? You know when Troy Deeney said they don't have the cojones? I think they've got them in abundance now.
Yeah.
You know, I think they've got that little.
They were very resolute in that win over Villa. Last season, they wouldn't have won that game.
And Watford, you know, the shithousery in the last 5 minutes. they haven't done that for years. They haven't done that for years, and I think we're seeing that. Now, I'm not saying that, the next season they're going to challenge for the title. No, but you're seeing the progress there. And I think they'll get results. I think they'll beat United 100%. They'll beat them at the Emirates 100%. I don't care who Man United have got in their squad. They're not going to beat Arsenal. I'm telling you this now. So I could see Chelsea slipping to 4th, Arsenal getting 3rd, 5th Tottenham, and 6th United. I've got no faith in this United at all. At all.
Whoa.
None whatsoever. Well,
saying that, I've got United 6th as well for that. Yeah.
You make an interesting point regarding Arsenal pipping Chelsea, because I did think that going into the Chelsea-Newcastle game.
That's why I started it, and I was saying that it's only 5 points. I wanted to see if someone actually thought Arsenal would finish above Chelsea or not.
I thought that, and then because Chelsea won, I thought, no, there's too much, and I still don't think Arsenal would do it. But yeah, no, it did cross my mind. Newcastle got done over. They were playing against they're playing against 15 men, you know, Chelsea and all of the officials.
Man, Stockley Park as well, boy.
You know,
boy. But who you got 7th still? West Ham or Wolves?
I think Wolves. I like what they're doing there. The beginning of the season, they were struggling to score goals, but they were defensively solid.
Yep.
And we're seeing how good Sarr has been this season. I mean, I know he joined from Olympiacos, and you know, the Greek league, you can't really gauge how successful players are going to be. I mean, for fuck's sake, what's his name? The lad that was at Arsenal, he went to Bark, the striker. What was his name? Akpom. He went to Greece and he won the league. You know, with Bark. So you can't really say, oh yeah, it's a fucking Makeda is there, for fuck's sake. So you can't really. All right, Olympiacos have been okay in Europe. They got results over Arsenal, and I think they just about lose to Wolves a couple seasons ago. But I'm not saying this because I know Danny Fishwick, who's the on the medical staff at Wolves, but you could see that they're playing better football. They're not as over reliant on a striker as they were under Nuno. They're getting goals from all over the pitch. I mean, they were happy to let Adama go, who undoubtedly was their main threat on the wing. Semedo has been fantastic at right wing back. I think that they'll get that place, and Neves is doing well. Moutinho's doing well. All right, I know Jimenez is going to be suspended. Is it one game he's suspended for, or is it two?
2.
It's 2.
Yeah, it's 2.
Okay. So, but even still, it might even be 3 because was it a straight red against Leeds?
No, second booking.
No, second booking.
Second booking. So it's probably one game then.
No, it's 2 because of the amount he clocked up in the first half of the season.
Oh, really? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that being said, I still think they've got enough to cement that place. And let's be honest, right? No disrespect to West Ham, but they've got this Europa League campaign and they're riding a crest of a wave. But we know how demanding this league is. And if they lose their first leg, might they take their eye off the Premier League and focus on the second leg? You don't know. I think Wolves will get that next spot.
Cool. Right, D. I know you got something cooking, brother.
Not really. Well, first of all, I don't see Chelsea losing third place, simply because the teams below them aren't good enough to catch them, in my opinion. I think Chelsea, Tuchel will want them to have a strong end to the season, regardless of who they're playing, whether it's the Cup semi-final or whatever. I think they'll dispatch of Real Madrid, not comfortably, but they'll get the job done. I don't see them. Brentford, difficult. I don't see them struggling against Southampton. And I think, I just think they'll have enough. But fourth place, I've said from time ago, Arsenal are going to get fourth, and I'm sticking to it simply because Arsenal are playing good football. Like Stel said, Arteta's done a good job there, getting rid of all the deadwood and the controversial figures. They've got a sense of belief now, I think, and they're playing with confidence. They're not pushovers anymore. And had they capitulated after the Liverpool result, which they could have done, I think that win against Villa was very, very key for them. Yeah. And I think they'll have enough to see out the season. I still think next season you're going to see how erratic Ramsdale is. Yeah. I still don't trust him, but he's riding the rest of the waves of
I agree, bruv. I agree. Don't get me wrong. With Ramsdale, it's like I've always said about England goalkeepers for years, like Robinson, Joe Hart, Pickford. It's like they drink 15 cans of Red Bull before every game and they play that song. Pump it up. They hype themselves up so much, man.
They run up
they bang. Then that's what Ramsdale is. And a lot of it's for the cameras as well, because he's smart, though. Sorry to cut you off there, but he's very smart because he knows if he does all of these things, this charade, this theatre, it gets him in the fans' good books. And we know what Arsenal fans are like on social media. No disrespect.
D-Man was saying
they're like the Illuminati. Honestly,
he said they will gash you to the high. They will gash you to the high heavens.
I'd love to play for them. If I was a player, I'd love to play for Arsenal. No matter what, if I do 1 or 2 good things, I'm a superstar. Yeah, and they will back me.
If Pascal Segan was still playing for him, he'd be up for Ballon d'Or. Calling But you've got to rate their fans though. You've got to rate them because that love for the
it does transcend. And the thing is, that's what they've got at the moment. There's a fans are behind. The Emirates is now rocking. The Emirates has never been rocking ever. Yeah, but now every game you can hear the fans. They're backing the players, and it's transcending to the pitch. So, and they've got a bag of talent, man. Do you
see it being a coincidence that AFTV have gone downhill and all of a sudden Arsenal are doing well? Is it a coincidence?
Yeah, but partly because obviously
they're not losing.
What's his face is banged up. What's his face is banged up, and
all the characters.
And obviously the main person that they had has got his own thing now. The whole troops and that. So it's going to happen, isn't it? Whether they win it or not.
You look what they've got on the pitch now. They've got. Listen, how they're getting away with no striker, I don't know, because they're not Man City out here. Because Lacazette is a bum. Yeah, he cannot finish but he's leading the team, so I'll give him credit. But Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe when he's fit and he's coming onto the pitch. And then the midfield seem to have sorted themselves out with Xhaka and Partey.
Xhaka, Partey, and Odegaard. Yeah,
Yeah.
they rarely lose when them
Yeah.
three are playing. Really.
I still think it needs improving if they're gonna,
Absolutely.
next season. But
Jack is still a walking card though, but you know what I mean?
oh yeah, of course. But they've got a relatively settled back four as well. I think what's his name on the right hand side?
Tomiyasu.
No. The one who's
Cedric.
Listen, he's the weak link. Let's be honest, because
It's mad though, isn't it? Obviously, it's a bigger club, but when he first came at Southampton, I thought he was really good.
Yeah, he seemed to give me like the Bucci vibes, but
But I tell you what, he's a better option than Bellerin was.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Because Bellerin always relied on his pace. It's like with Carl Walker. Take the pace out of their game. I mean, they could afford to make a mistake over 10, 15 yards because they'd make it up within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But the thing with Arsenal, they've got a good centre-back pairing in Ben White and Gabriel, but I still think next season it needs improving. Yeah, if they're going to, that's another... But I don't think they will. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to... That's
Ben White's the fans... Talking of players they gas up, Ben White is their Lord and Saviour, bruv.
Yeah. And listen, Tierney, when he's fit, is a very good player. Yeah. So I think, pound for pound, they have a good enough first 11, argue 12, 13, who can do a job. And they've got enough confidence and the way they're playing at the moment. Like Stel said, I think they'll beat United. Yeah. They won't beat Chelsea. But there's not many other games left that I think are that difficult for them. If they beat Palace on a Monday, I think that's it. I think they're almost home and dry. The Spurs one they can afford to draw.
You don't think West Ham away?
Nope. I think they'll comfortably beat West Ham. Yeah, but
are they going to beat Newcastle?
What West Ham have to play? What West Ham distraction?
Are they going to beat Newcastle? Because I don't think so.
Oh no, they're not beating.
Second to last game.
Listen,
but you know what? I can actually see Arsenal giving a team a hiding as well from now to the end of the season. You know, a 4-5 might be Brighton, it might be Southampton. I can see them give. It might be that's the last day of the season, isn't it?
It'll be Leeds again. It'll be Leeds again at the Emirates. They're going to.
But the thing is, well, first of all, Newcastle got one big scalp left in a minute, so it's either Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal. So take your pick. One of them three, I'm not beating Newcastle. Yeah, but with Spurs and United. The reason why I think Spurs will run them the closest because Spurs now have, I think for the rest of the season, they've got a break between each game, and that's when they usually perform. Yeah, so I think that will give them a bit of momentum. United, I just can't trust them. Yeah, I just can't trust them. I think they will drop way too many points before the end of the season. I just think there's too much going on there. They haven't got a permanent manager. There's all this talk about Ten Hag and Pochettino or whatever. Pogba situation's not sorted. We don't know what's going to happen with Ronaldo, the whole Greenwood thing. There's too much going on behind the scenes. And like I said, they're not buying into what Ragnick's trying to do. And they know, let's be honest, Ragnick's there to see who's the bad egg and who's not. Yeah, so he can report to the new manager or whatever. So it's not about playing well, it's about behaving. Yeah, so I just don't think there's enough harmony in that squad. They've got the quality individually, but they can't play as a team. And
but Dee, do you know what? There's a lot of fixtures left for United where you're looking at them and you think, I don't think these players are going to fancy it.
Exactly.
You know, Everton away, Brentford at home ain't going to be easy. No. Brighton away, Chelsea away, Palace away. I mean, these games you got to look. You've got to play.
Oh no, you haven't actually. So no.
So you got to look at these. Okay, Leicester is Saturday. It's a 5:30. All right, you're going to say, oh, Trafford's going to be rocking, but Leicester have been such a difficult team for United over the past few years. You know, Everton, okay, they're shit, but they're fighting for their lives, and it's going to be the fans are going to be up for it. Okay, Norwich at home, but Norwich have beaten United at Old Trafford.
Listen,
that was what I was going to say though, still, because that game when you beat Norwich 1-0 with the Cristiano penalty, me and Dee dissected that on the show. For large parts of that game, Norwich were the better team, but they're just not enough, not rapid enough on the counter attack.
The thing is, I don't think there's a team left that United play that actually have that fear United. Yeah.
No, of course not.
And that's the thing. And like Norwich will probably be relegated by them. They got nothing to fear. They're gonna come out and start balling, bro. Yeah. So it's like I just don't trust. I don't trust. Now they're out of the Champions League. I think that was the last bit of hope of their season. I think now that that's done, I don't think they've got the fight in them. I really don't. So I think,
bro,
a point.
I gave up on top 4 after the Southampton game at home because that first half they should have been clear. They should have been clear. And then all of a sudden they let Southampton back in the game and almost lost it. You know, and then you look at the players. Listen, a lot of these players don't have the minerals for a fight. They don't have it. Rashford doesn't have it. Sancho, do you know what? I feel sorry for the lad because I've been very critical of him because I don't really rate anyone or anything that comes from Dortmund. You know me, I don't. But he's come with a big price tag. He's joined United where the level of expectancy is up here, and I think he's done pretty well, especially the back end of this season. Well, yeah, since I don't know December time, he's done pretty well. But then you look at Luke Shaw, liability, Maguire. I don't really have anything to say that hasn't been said about him. Right back. Who is the right back? Who is it? Is it Wan-Bissaka? Is it Dalot? Dalot's fucking turgid. The middle of the park, you got Matic, is probably the best ball player in the centre midfield, right? It's him or Fred. Fred has done well. I've got to give him his props. He's done well since Rangnick's come in. Yeah. McTominay is McTominay. Okay, he's like Marmite. Yeah, you either love him or you hate him. Pogba, for me, I think he's probably United's most technically gifted player. But again, no one can get a tune out of him. No one can. Bruno Fernandes, too erratic for me. I don't rate him. I haven't rated him. And people are going to get on my back for this. They could talk to me about stats all you want. But when you're 12 yards out with an open goal and you want to smash the ball and siphon it in like he did against Middlesbrough.
There's only one Bruno we talk about anyway. So.
So who is there to say who's your match winner? You could tell Ronaldo's getting frustrated, but when you don't have the supply line that he was used to at Juve or Real Madrid, you've gone from being supplied by Luka Modric to who? Rashford's getting pissed off. Lingard doesn't want to play for the club. Martial doesn't. Sevilla don't even want Martial. We're saying
even Cavani's not even been utilised.
So there's so much wrong. And God bless David De Gea, the poor bloke. I've been one of his biggest critics. I've said, when you come into Man United, you've got Peter Schmeichel's name to live up to. Yeah. For me, Schmeichel was the GOAT for me of all time for goalkeepers, right? People could say Buffon. No, sorry. Schmeichel for me was the one because he had everything as a goalkeeper. Distribution, command of the area, everything, shot stopping. I look at De Gea, the one thing he lacks, communication. He's a butto, he's a pussy, man. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't come for catches. And look at him. Look at the goals that we conceded over the years from him. Don't get me wrong, shot stopper, fantastic. But his command of the area is terrible. His starting position is terrible. So many times I've seen balls played over the top. He doesn't want to run out. He doesn't want to clear the ball. He's too scared. He's brittle. And he's been like that since Andy Carroll smashed him in his first season. Do you know what I mean? So I look at this team. Again, Varane has come in. He hasn't got a defensive partner. He looks to his left. He's thinking, what the fuck is this guy? He's thinking of Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is this guy? You've gone from winning World Cups, winning Champions League. Sergio Ramos. Can you imagine if Sergio Ramos was centre back with Varane at Man United? We wouldn't concede goals because people would be too scared. But we got this guy. Listen, I don't want to go into Harry Maguire because everyone's done Harry Maguire, but whatever, he's not good enough. But for me, Lindelof is probably the best defensive partner for Maguire. He's less of a liability with Varane. Sorry, he's less of a liability than Maguire. I could go on all day about United like I did last time, but nothing changes. Nothing changes at Man United, right? And I'll go back to this again. Fucking, you have a set piece coach out of 158 corners, only 2 goals scored. What is this? I'm not even exaggerating. That was a stat against Spurs. So, bro, come on, man. Darren Fletcher. Oh, Man United's academy is one of the best in the country. Darren, why is your son at Man City then? Anyway, whatever. I'm done.
I mean, just because I know FBJ wants to say something as well. The only reason why I'm sticking with United for 4th, despite everything that D-Man
because you're on drugs.
Has said, yeah, that too.
He don't deny it.
Well, look at him. He's not even denying it. Look at him, bro. Repo.
Double
Man.
D knows that on drugs. But I just think, I just think that despite the turgid football, Man United are a team of moments. You know, they live on moments, and sometimes
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Not
what
anymore.
moments have they had this season?
No,
What moments have they had this season? They've had plenty of opportunity, bro.
I mean, I'm not going to try and put words in Big Sam's mouth, but we're coming to what I officially call the business end of the season. And it's
Here we
about
go.
big
Here we go.
players
Easy
showing
for
up
him.
and character.
He's
And you just
37.
feel, yeah, but still, it's still Ronaldo. It's still Ronaldo.
It's Ronaldo at this
It's
Manchester United.
Cristiano, thank you.
can't do
There's
it.
only
Yeah,
one Ronaldo.
But the point is that I can understand where Sam's coming from. You've got what's happened in the season so far, and then now you got this is like starting fresh. It's all, you will see some crazy results. We'll see like, oh, where did this team come from? This, that, the other. I can understand why Sam's saying, and it kind of goes along the same ways of how I see it with United. It's just the big moments, the big players, because at the end of the day, there's a Champions League carrot at the end of it.
Have they still got to
and-
play Chelsea again?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, they
Slap
do.
it.
probably.
Yeah.
Stanford
Have
Bridge.
they got to play Liverpool again?
This
Slap
is the thing, though. You're saying the big moments, the big players. Bar Cristiano, who are the big players at the club at Man United? Though?
I mean, you're still like Varane. He's not a bad player. De Gea, he's not a bad player.
What big moments are they gonna have?
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. If you go by logic for what's gone on this season, you'll say, okay, this one's got no chance. But when we get to this stage of the season, things happen, and it's about, completely different circumstances. But it was looking peak for Liverpool to get into the Champions League, and then they went on a run of winning their last 8 out of 10 games or something like that. The cream usually does rise to the top.
Liverpool had Salah, Mane, and Klopp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but two of the names you've
flopping
mentioned,
hard.
names you've mentioned, big players,
Mm.
characters. So that's
Who've been consistent throughout the season.
Exactly. That's what I was asking you, United, because you said De Gea and Varane. We know who they are, but who do they play with? Harry Maguire. You know what I'm saying?
but it's I hear what Sam's saying, and it's somewhat what I
I
feel
hear
as
what
well.
you're saying.
Yeah, but no, the question I was going to ask Stel, because there's still a formula where Man United could not even have any European football. Do you think that would be a good thing for United? Somewhat kind of a reset. They need to reset anyway, but it would hasten the reset button. That right, from top to bottom, everything needs to change.
Bro, as a staunch anti-Glazer person, no European football would be like the biggest orgasm I've had ever.
Woo!
Because there's no guaranteed revenue. Yeah,
Mm.
they'd be shitting themselves knowing full well that there'll be players wanting to leave. They wouldn't be able to attract as many big names as they'd like. A lot of it hinges on European football, even Europa League. You know, as sad as it sounds, some money does come in from the Europa League. It's not Champions League level, but they need that money to keep going. And for me, if the more you, this is going to sound really bad because I obviously want United to be successful, but I gave up my season ticket because of these parasites. And not to be honest, I'm not going to lie. And Dee knows and Dan knows, for the past 4 or 5 years, my interest in United has gone downhill because of a lot of what happens on social media. You got a lot of these Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, Ten Hag, Pochettino, Ole out, and it's like you're ruining it for everyone because let's get it right. And I'm sure I said this on the last pod we did together. Man United's social media account, like they had a conference call and they were talking about social media engagement. Now, no disrespect to Nick Speakman whatsoever, but he founded Sporf, as you know, is like very similar to Lad Bible, very clickbait-esque. United brought him in as the head of global social media. So what does that tell you about the direction the club wants to go? It's all about creating more awareness, bringing in more commercial revenue.
Van Gaal.
Huh?
Louis Van Gaal said it best.
But he was right. He was right. And do you know what? I'll say this like I told you guys on one of the first pods we did together a couple of years back when Ollie was still in charge. I said, right, when United interviewed Jurgen Klopp, Ed Woodward described Man United as football's version of Disney World. This wasn't me just bullshitting. Jurgen Klopp said it himself. Yeah. So why would anyone want to join a club where football isn't the key component here? Why? Why would any manager want to go there? I'm hearing Ten Hag, Pochettino. All right, if Pochettino goes to United, clearly he knows he can get a paycheck. Ten Hag will be crazy to go to United. Crazy. And he'll get found out anyway. Let's get it right. So with this group of players, how can you see United progressing? If United get into the Champions League, it will be a disaster as far as I'm concerned, right? It'll be a fucking disaster. But if they, from a fan perspective that doesn't like the Glazers, it'll be a disaster. Don't get me wrong. You know, you'll still get all these fucking, you know, influencers and doing all their little podcasts. Oh, Man United are playing Atletico Madrid tonight. And what's going to happen? Well, they're going to get dicked because of shit. So, yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for a few years now. United need 1 or 2 years without European football. That way, it will affect the club in terms of players coming in, players leaving. Perhaps United will sign players that want to play for the club. Do you get what I'm saying? That want that challenge. Because for me, there are a lot of players at this club that perhaps don't want that challenge anymore. They know that they can get a better challenge elsewhere. Perhaps the challenge to qualify for Europe isn't the challenge that they want. The challenge that they want is to win trophies. And that's not happening. So the likes of maybe Pogba, De Gea, Varane, or whoever, they'll say, right, we don't want that. And maybe United need to do what perhaps Newcastle are doing and sign players that want to fight for their place. United need to go back to basics and strip everything down. But that's not going to happen because the more money that comes in from different ventures, the more the club's going to stagnate. And I'm sorry, it goes back to the higher ups. What can I tell you? It's the same shit.
It's in a completely different way, but there are some similarities. Arsenal didn't get into Europe this season. All of a sudden, Stan, you know, they were a little bit more, you know, active in terms of investment. There was some sort of plan, right, we're going with youth. And thus far, it's proven dividends. How long it will last, don't know. But at least you can see, actually, there's some building blocks. With United...
You're right. Because under Wenger's last few seasons, and even to some certain extent, Unai Emery's, they went through this, like, let's make a big name signing. Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, who else? Aubameyang, obviously. Mkhitaryan came in. And these were signings to pacify supporters. Do you remember that summer when they didn't sign anyone and all of a sudden they brought in that Brazilian left back? Yeah. They brought in Mertesacker. They brought in... Yeah, I can't remember their names. Was even Arteta one of them?
Andre Santos.
Yeah, that was off the back of the 8-2.
They bought
that was off the back of the 8-2.
Yeah, the 8-2. Yeah, they bought Mertesacker and Arteta.
And that's what they were doing. They were signing these players to shut up the fans. And that's what United have been doing. Every summer, it's like, oh, who United going to sign? Wow, we signed Ronaldo. We're going to win the league. Sancho, we're going to win the league. It's like, that's not how it works. That clearly, you look at Liverpool, right? Perfect example. Salah wasn't like this world-class name that we know. He was doing bits for Fiorentina and Roma, but he went under the radar. Mane doing things at Southampton, again, under the radar. Firmino doing things in Germany, under the radar. You need these players who you know that they can level up, but they're not at that level yet because you give them that caveat. You give them that carrot on the stick and you say, right, this is what you need to go for. Robertson was at Hull, for fuck's sake. But they identified him as a quality player. Van Dijk did well at Celtic, went to Southampton, all right. He wasn't like this rock at Southampton, but you knew that there was something in him. They signed him. Alisson, he did well at Liverpool. In fact, he was doing well at Roma. Didn't Liverpool knock Roma out of the Champions League semi-final?
Yeah. And because he scored 5 past them, people were saying, I don't want him, even though he's been brilliant that season outside of that.
You know, so you're seeing these players. And again, with going back to, you know, with United and Liverpool, the parallels, Liverpool had Lovren. He wasn't doing well, but you know what? They brought in Van Dijk and he made him a better player. Maguire hasn't been doing well at United. They brought in Varane. But what's happened here is Maguire's the £80 million player. And yet he still hasn't improved with a better partner. Do you get what I'm saying? So the recruitment's been wrong. Look, say what you want about Newcastle and the Saudis coming in, right? But Eddie Howe has identified exactly the areas of the pitch that need improving. They needed a left back. They signed one. They needed a right back. They signed one. They needed a central midfield that could play ball. They signed one. They needed a striker to get them goals. Okay, we hasn't been scoring and firing on all cylinders, but he's a handful. United haven't been doing that. They've just been signing players for the sake of signing them.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
With Wood, though, Wood is first in the league in aerial duels one now.
He's doing a job.
So obviously, though he's not been scoring freely, he's helped other areas of the team. But back to you, D, because we need to finish your position. So you've said Arsenal fourth.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Who was fifth?
Spurs fifth. I think Arsenal beat them by a point.
Yeah.
And then you've got United sixth.
Yeah.
Quite a way back.
Have you got West Ham or Wolves seventh?
West Ham and then Wolves.
Stel is fine because obviously what you've said there with your bit about United, I was going to ask you that anyway. So you've just had the section earlier than what I was going to do. You know what I'm saying? No, I said what you said there, the picture you had to say about United. I was going to ask you on that anyway, so it's fine. You did what I was going to ask when we finished up the position, so that's fine. So we've done that. So D, I'm going to stick with you just in regards, obviously, because Stel's just been talking on your team. Before we do, who's going to win the league to wrap up the podcast? Newcastle, because as I've said on the radio show, I think considering there was no director of football in place when all this started, I've thought that you've bought very smartly. I think Dan, you know me, since I first saw him at Brighton, I've been singing Dan Burn's name, Big Dan Burn, on the radio show every week. I think you've made very shrewd purchases and you've laid a base and foundation now to stay in the division.
Yeah.
And then that's when we're going to start seeing, bit by bit, we're going to start seeing the fireworks in terms of the purchases made just because of the spending power that you have. But I have to commend your club because I thought they've done very well. They've not been held to ransom by anybody in regards to the players that they've brought in. And I just think, I don't know who's been advising them. Obviously, they've got the Brighton guy now, but I just think they've been very sensible in terms of what they've done. And I think how that 9 game, however they finish the season now, that 9 game unbeaten run that you went on is going to keep you guys up now. And
and like you said, the buyers that he's made have been very shrewd, and the positions that he's bought, centre forward, left back, right back, centre back, and centre midfield. And let's be honest, Tripp has been out for most of the things. Gamera's only just started the games.
Yeah,
Pitchwood hasn't scored a goal. Matt Target has been very, very good, and Dan Burn has been probably our best player, one of our best players. But it's also what he's done with the players, the existing players there. And we've said it time and time again. Joe Linton, like what he obviously was a stroke of luck that Kieran Clark got sent off and he had to fulfill in that role. But since then, he's been playing exceptionally. He's finally got Joe Willett playing with confidence. He's got, he brought back Fabian Schär into the team and dropped Lascelles. And Schär and Byrne together have been pretty solid. And even, listen, we've been playing with our third choice right back for the last few games because Manquillo's been injured. So his half been playing there. And even he has been pretty decent. But our midfield of Shelby, Joe Linton and
Willock
has been immense. And then you've got Fraser doing the job on the wing. Like Fraser, who wouldn't, who totally forgot about him under Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce didn't trust him. His confidence was low. Now,
was it Wolves that you not played under Bruce? Or Bruce had him playing like as a DM or something like that?
Absolute foolishness.
I don't know what was going on.
But the promising thing for me is that Newcastle now have some sort of identity and how they want to play. They're keeping the ball a lot better, creating more opportunities. But we're still being pragmatic because Eddie Howe knew he couldn't just change it, do wholesale changes overnight because that would be too much considering he was in a relegation dogfight. But you can see slowly but surely he's making these changes. And I'm not going to say we're safe yet, but we should stay up. So if that happens, we can get rid of some of the deadwood, but the aging players and the players that aren't playing and ain't playing well, get rid of them. Bring in, I'd say 4 to 5 new players. And it'll be. I'm looking forward to next season. Once we're safe, I can look forward to next season. But so far, so good. We'll see. We'll see what Eddie Howe can do with a bit of money and a settled and a pre-season under his belt, shall we say? So we'll see. But I'm not getting ahead of my station. I still think top 10 next season will be amazing. Like, I'm not saying we should be challenging for Europe or top 4 like next season or stuff like that. But a top 10 finish, a comfortable top 10 finish, I'll be happy with that.
Cool. Right. So let's wrap up then with the big one. The big one. They looked over. Well, apparently Chelsea won this league in October, didn't they? Then it looked over. New Year with Man City ahead of Liverpool by, was it 14 points? I'm sure there was a week we played late and they were 16 ahead at a stage.
Yeah, 14, 3 games more played or something like that.
And but now we've got a title race on hands. But guys, who is going to win the title? Let me start with one of the 2 non-Liverpool people, and I'm going to start with Stel. I know this is like picking, like, this is you'd like both teams not to win it, but who's going to get over the line?
Well, first of all, it's like choosing the lesser of the 2 evils. I mean, you look at Liverpool and they're just as, if not more successful domestically than United. And then you look at City, who, okay, they're winning things and they're slowly catching up, but they're still a fair way behind. And I'd say, yeah, Liverpool are probably the bigger of the 2 evils. But then when you look at both owners and you think, well, I don't think Liverpool's owners have been sports washing or been responsible for the death of thousands of innocent people. So then you got to look at City saying they're the biggest evil, and they've been hiding sexual abuse from coaches on players for years, but we're not going to go into that.
Oh God.
I'm just stating fact again. There's no conjecture here. It's fact. In all fairness, mate, I said this at the beginning of the season to a friend who also has a podcast. I'm not going to mention his name because it's not fair. And I said at the beginning of the season, if Liverpool can avoid the injury problems they had last season, they will win the league. And I stand by it. I think City's biggest mistake was not signing a striker in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by it. How can you not replace? Listen, it's impossible to replace Sergio Aguero. Probably the greatest ever Premier League striker.
Mm-hmm.
Say what?
So well, yeah,
Louder.
It's fact. But you can't replace Aguero. But you need to find someone that can get you goals. And yes, City get goals from all over the pitch, and we've seen them getting last-minute winners from Rodri and all that. But there's something about them this season that makes me believe that they'll go to places like Palace, for example, and they'll drop points because they don't have that killer in front of goal. And they're always looking for that extra pass in the box this season. I don't know what it is. Maybe because they've got too many midfielders, you know? Yeah. And I think with Liverpool bringing in the Luis, what's his name? Diaz. They've added an extra dimension to their side. Thiago obviously has been in and out of the team. Wijnaldum, they haven't missed him at all. Defensively, all right, they're playing a higher line this season.
Really, still? I listened to certain podcasts and they said Liverpool are a system team and Wijnaldum's a system, so Liverpool won't get top 4 this season. That's what I was hearing at the start of the season.
Look, Wijnaldum did the basics right and he had an engine, but the way that Fabinho's been playing this season, you don't need a Wijnaldum. And Henderson has been able to make that role his own. He's doing what Wijnaldum was doing, basically. And I think he's a very underrated player, is Henderson, as far as I'm concerned. He does. He's like how Carrick was back at United. Do you get what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't really rate him too much, but the influence he had on games, especially in the middle of the park, you know, again, went under the radar. All right, Liverpool playing further forward defensively, so you're seeing a much higher line. And Trent, obviously, the long COVID has affected him. But the fact is, Liverpool finished 3rd last season, despite all the injuries. And we're talking, Alisson had injuries. Van Dijk was out for the season. Wasn't Matip in and out of the team?
Matip was out for the season. And
I mean, how many? You're playing Henderson and Fabinho at centre back at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet you still finished in the top 4. And people, again, I said this on the last show that I came on. someone had the temerity to say that Leicester will finish above Liverpool because Liverpool had injury problems last season. I mean, what cocaine is this person on?
What was it? There was more than one of them. What was it? They're not linear. What was it? Yeah, injuries are not linear. Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. People that don't know
Don't
football.
forget, boy.
This is what people don't know football. You can get any mongoloid on your podcast to chat shit, right? You can get anyone to talk shit. But the fact is, again, Liverpool finished third despite having all these injuries. They don't have these injuries this season. And touch wood for you, it doesn't look like they're going to get these injuries. So they're probably going to win the league this season, as far as I'm concerned, based on that.
Right. Let's mix it up then and go to one of the Liverpool fans. Repo man. What are you saying? Repo man?
Boy, if you asked me, in fact, you did ask me at the beginning of the season, and I said Chelsea, scratch that off, because the way we've recovered, especially being, was it 14 or 16 points down, something like that, it don't matter. And to be even though there's a point difference and same amount of games, the way we've been moving, not all the games have been great, but there's something about us this season that just makes me think that this is our year again. And I look at Manchester City and I think about, they're killers, despite not having a focal point, a central striker. I mean, they let Ferran Torres go to Barca, and I had fans saying that Jesus will take his place, but Jesus would play wide, didn't he? You know what I mean? So, but they've still been doing the business. But there's something about City this season that, like Stel was saying, they've not been themselves in every game, and they've just been getting by. Like Thomas Frank was going on about Brentford, even though they lost that game. City struggled, and then you had the Palace game just gone by. They couldn't find an answer against Palace. So there's something about them this season that, like Stel was saying, it was almost as if they go to some grounds, it's not guaranteed to win like they used to. With us now, the acquisition of Luis Diaz has changed some things. And one of the things I was worried about before was that, the defense was a real worry for me. And
The one at the door, bro.
1 minute.
They want their money back.
Right. FBJ picked that up.
Yeah, no, for me, in terms of the original question, I don't know. As I said on the radio show, I think this FA Cup semi-final game throws the dynamic completely, because you have to look into that. That will affect to a degree the league game, because they're both in close proximity. I've said on the, as you know, Dubs, in the WhatsApp group that we're in with Liverpool, I had no doubt that Liverpool will be able to rack up the wins and get the points. The thing is that they got this monster in front of them who can also do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the Man City's record, they actually haven't dropped that many. They haven't played badly and they haven't dropped that many points. Yeah. But it's just that the fact that you've got two teams who can rack off 10 games winning streak like it's a nothing. And that's what Liverpool have done. I gave up after the Leicester game. I thought it's all done. And Man City beat Arsenal as well. It's all done. It's just, it's all about placing. Because they're too far behind Liverpool, and they you're relying on Man City to drop just a minimum amount of points for Liverpool to catch up. Liverpool have caught up. Do I think they will win? Obviously, as a fan, I would say yes. Do I believe they'll win? It's the defining thing for me is who both teams have got to play, and on paper, Liverpool's running appears more difficult. Having said that, and as I said earlier, you can throw that out the window because we're at the business end. We're gonna get some really, I didn't see that coming. I don't think anyone would be too surprised if Burnley get a result against City. People won't be surprised if Watford get a result against Liverpool because the desperation. No, logic does it, but it wouldn't be that much of a surprise because everyone is dying for the points. But yeah, it just shows just how good these two teams are. And there's a point that Stel mentioned I wanted to refer to. What a lot of people still forget is that Liverpool were top going into in January in 2021. And all logic would have thought they would have brought in some defenders, and they didn't. For me personally, I think if they did, I still think Liverpool would have won that league. I really do. I really
don't
do.
know about that with the winning run that Man City went on. I don't know about that, mate.
But Liverpool was still top, and they were top going on and on and on. It's when it came to the end of January and Matip was done, that's when we went into the transfer window. I'm not saying Man City were discredit Man City, but Liverpool, they still had it in their hands, and the lack of being active in the window halted Liverpool's run. But this year it's been different because just when the team was kind of teetering and maybe we would have gone flat, just that one signing, and myself, you, Big Sam, and many other Liverpool supporters have said, does the January transfer window exist at Liverpool? With Diaz coming in, even if he was poor, which we'd all understand, he's starting to, he's trying to bed in. He's galvanized the club where actually you're like, wow, okay, we can do something here. I do think, I still think City just purely because of Liverpool's run. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Liverpool end up clinching it. So it's a bit of a cop out, but that's my thoughts. I still think City just.
Right, Sammy, is there anything you wanted to add before you had Cooper Sachs knocking at your door? Cooper Sachs.
Apologies for that, guys. Most of what FBJ said, I just concur, but I would say that from what I was saying before, our defense, the fact that we haven't had defensive issues has been key as well. We've had injuries, but we've managed them well. And like in a lot of the games, I think we've shown a lot of maturity in how we manage our games. Not all of them, but in a great deal of them, we've shown a lot of maturity in how we manage our games. I think towards this tail end of the season, I just think that April 10th game is a big game, but I don't think that will be the deciding game. But I think I'm just going to root for us. I'm just going to say Liverpool. Yeah.
Right. D, were you saying to come between the Liverpool fans so it's not all three of us going in a row? What are you saying?
I think this is the most difficult one to call.
Definitely.
I keep flip-flopping in between, to be fair. What I would say is that if City lose this league, I don't think they've thrown it away, because I just think the fact that they had their, like you said, they had their great run when Liverpool didn't, and Liverpool having their great run when City haven't. So it's evening itself out. People say they had this lead. Liverpool had games in hand. Yeah, they were still behind City, but they had more than one game in hand. So it wasn't really over by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, Pundit tried to say it was and whatnot. But it's just a case of they had their great runs at different times. Now, both teams are capable of going on a mad run to the end of the season. However, can Liverpool sustain this great run until the end of the season? I'm not so sure. Yeah, I think they would have to rely on City dropping a considerable amount of points. I'm not saying they won't, but like FBJ said, people are making this thing about City dropping points. They haven't been playing badly, and they haven't dropped that many points. Yeah, it's just that Liverpool's been on a phenomenal winning streak, basically. Yeah. Now, Liverpool's running on paper is harder, but when you look at the games, City are more likely to drop points than Liverpool, I believe. And like FPJ said, it wouldn't be that much of a shock if Burnley get a result against City. There's no way Watford are getting a result against Liverpool. I'll tell you that for free. They're getting slapped. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm hoping.
No. They're getting slapped. They're getting slapped. What originally I said Liverpool were gonna nick it. The FA Cup draw, with the two games being in close proximity, which one comes first, the league or the FA Cup?
The league.
The league comes first, right?
Yeah.
And I think if City avoid defeat against Liverpool in the league, I think they'll beat them in the cup and they'll go on to win the league. Yeah. If Liverpool beat City at the Etihad, they're gonna beat them in the cup and then they'll go on to win the league. Yeah. I do think City's advantage is they've been there before when Liverpool been on their ass, yeah, and they just went went on that
all over their ass, as Sam said. All over their ass.
It went to the final day, but they were still clapping teams left, right, centre. They got the 1-0 against Leicester. Whatever. Other than that, they were winning games with confidence, with stuff. Obviously, they had Aguero at the time, whatnot.
Who?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, listen, I prefer City to win it. I'm not gonna go because of Pep.
Yeah, because you're a Pep guy. Yeah,
I think Liverpool will win it, and I think the Premier League needs Liverpool to win this because we need to have that. If Pep wins this league, there is no Klopp-Pep rivalry. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah? But if Klopp can win this league, yeah, then it becomes a real rivalry. Yeah? And the Premier League hasn't had that for years. Yeah. Since the Fergie, Wenger, and Mourinho days and whatever. They haven't had this rivalry. Yeah. Pep hasn't had this rivalry since the Mourinho days back in Spain and all them things there, whatever. But they need it. Now, I want to see how both Salah and Diaz react to being knocked out of this World Cup. Yeah, because I don't think it will affect them greatly, but it's still a blow, bro. It's still a blow.
definitely.
But I just think that Liverpool have too much. They're playing. They don't look like losing at this particular time. I think they will lose. Don't get me wrong before the season ends. But they're playing with such confidence, and I think there is this belief that they will win the league. Where City's like, I think City's thing is City are banking on this game on April the 10th. Yeah, and because by the time they play Burnley, they'll be second in the league. Yeah, so it's gonna be a yo-yo until then, and I think they're banking on this game at the Etihad. Whereas I think Liverpool have got the less pressure on them going into that game, if that makes sense. And I think that's gonna be quite key. But I think I've got Liverpool to beat them by a point. Yeah, I've got Liverpool to beat them by a point. And my biggest fear is Klopp doing the quad, bro. Yeah, that's my biggest fear. Yeah?
You'll never shut me up ever again in life.
But if he does it, this is just a side. But if he does the quad, where does that put him in managerial legacy in terms of how great he is? Because
that's a whole next podcast.
Greatest of all time.
Fergie never done no quad. Yeah, yeah. My man's been to how many Champions League finals? Yeah, he would have won more Champions Leagues than Fergie. Yeah, if he does the quad, is it?
No, it'd be the same.
The same.
Two each. Yeah.
He's won the title in Germany. Yeah, but more importantly, does it make him better than Pep?
Ooh, now you're talking spicy.
I think
we're going to readdress this.
And it's going to be the same. It's going to be back to the debate: can Pep win the Champions League without Messi?
And that's the thing. Now the thing is, all this talk about Liverpool doing the quad, City could still do the treble.
This is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They could still do the treble, and no one's talking about this. And I think they prefer it like this. No one's talking about them doing the treble. So don't get me wrong. If he does the treble, then to me he's the greatest of all time. But that's another story. But anyway, so but yeah, I've got Liverpool to pip City by a point.
Right.
All I'll just add before you say your bit, Dubs, is again it's something I've kept saying, and I've said on the show, the radio show, what have you. Barring last year, if you're going to put a title challenge to go up against Man City, and the bar that they've set, you have to win 30 games just to be in the conversation. And I've always said that.
That's ridiculous.
Since Pep has been, apart from his first season, Pep he's gone through the 90-point mark. So 30 wins, 90 points. Nobody has come close apart from Liverpool. That's just facts. That's not me bigging up Liverpool. I'm just saying that if Liverpool and what Klopp has done, if they weren't challenging, literally it would just be a procession each and every year for Man City. So it just shows you the standard of what these two clubs.
Did you just say Premier League Farmers League? All right, cool.
And
I've got Liverpool winning it on 92 points.
Well, I mean, I won't say it out here because I don't want to put that negative energy. But I've said to Dubs what I think will be required to win the league in terms of points. So I'll just keep it between ourselves. But that's where when you look at, we were speaking about the chasing pack, that's the standard. And no matter how, even though Man United finished second, until you get to that level, you're not challenging, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's, and I do feel these managers will have to go before the rest can come back into contention, because of what they've done. I hope Klopp stays a little bit longer just to have this rivalry going back and forth. But anyway, we'll see. But sorry, Dubs, what do you think then?
Yeah. To wrap it up, my head's telling me City, my heart's telling me Liverpool. That game between the two is massive, but the funny thing is, I actually think it's going to finish in a draw, which doesn't really do anyone any favors. But as Dee has said, and it's a conclusion that I came to a long time ago, I don't know whether or not it's outrageous what you have to do to win the league nowadays with the amount of points that these teams are accumulating. And I just think there might be a silly draw in there, not even necessarily a defeat. Liverpool, in the last 4 seasons or so under Klopp, Liverpool barely lose. There might be a stupid defeat. Sorry, not defeat, but a draw in there. And looking at the schedule, the runnings left, you probably have to favour City, and I've probably got City.
Yeah, but why? But why would you favour City?
But by a point. Not in terms of the games on paper, but things are well on paper. So don't get twisted. I still fully heartedly believe that we can do it. But if right now, if I'll take a prediction, I'll probably just.
Can I just say something? You see this run of fixtures that both teams have, including Champions League. Yeah, I don't think, because everyone say Liverpool got Benfica, which is the easier draw than Man City, but I think those fixtures for Man City they love, and I think the fixtures that Liverpool have, they love. I think if there was vice versa, if City had an easier Champions League opponent, they're more likely to slip up. If Liverpool had a harder one, I think the games would kind of catch up with them. So I think both fixtures suit each other's team, because I think City love the big games and they can go. Remember when they had Chelsea and United back to back or something, and then I think that's what they want. They want them where they tested every game. Because they have to switch on 100%. It's the little game like the Palace and Southampton where they just the mentality is not there. I think that's.
But the funny thing is that
you took the word out of my mouth. I was going to say that I think when it comes to title running, the harder the fixtures, that's what you want, because every game is vital. You can't take your eye off it. Whereas when it comes to no disrespect, your Brentfords and this is what I'm saying about United. But when you come up across these lower ranked teams, the complacency creeps in. I'm not saying that Liverpool and City have got that, but what I'm saying is that, there's always a banana skin there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think Liverpool will be very, very pleased to see that they've got United. They've got, who else have got Liverpool got? They've got City, they've got United, they've got Chelsea.
No, they're done with Chelsea.
No,
they
they're done
got
with
they got
Chelsea,
they got they got Everton. They got Newcastle. They got Spurs.
Yeah.
Wolves
Spurs.
is the last
Again,
game of the season.
There you go, man. There's a much more difficult test than City, no doubt.
Yeah, so that was why, because of the games look quite tough for us. Well, obviously games I want on paper, but yeah, so that is maybe why I'd give it to City, but I wouldn't be surprised if we won it. And obviously I've got the money down for us to win it. I've got the money down for us to do the quad as well. I'll be a very rich man if Liverpool do the quad. I got involved with that when it was 150 over 1. So yeah, but it's going to be interesting. I'm just, because I gave in literally after that Leicester defeat. I should have put money down then, because even I would have been able to cash out now, even with just the fact that Liverpool clawed the lead back to 1 point, So that was a mistake by myself in that regard. But it's it's just good to be in it, and I'd love to still have dreams of a quadruple when April ends, being in it when it's starting, But it's gonna be very, 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 very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah.
As a Liverpool fan, then Sam said this, and I'll polish it up, Sam. Sorry. Liverpool aren't playing great football, but they're just playing winning football purely because they've had that course and distance. And Manchester City, in their own way, they're doing the same thing. I mean, when you're watching Liverpool the last few weeks, I don't think you'll say Liverpool have played well, but there's such confidence in the back where if they are going to concede, it'll be no more than one. But they've got enough firepower to get a goal or two, what have you, or even just win 1-0. That's what won them the league. It wasn't playing swashbuckling football that we saw in the 18-19 season. It was just winning the 1-0s and the 2-1s and just accumulating the wins where they just couldn't be caught. And they were showing that from, I think they've only conceded 3 goals in the league in the last 10 games or something like that. That's it. And I know you've been big on him, Dubs, but Matip is, I mean, he is
King Joel.
The man is defending and he's going on swashbuckling runs and he's putting in the KDB assists as well. What can this man not do?
The marauding runs,
That's finishing like prime Ronaldo. When I saw him against Leeds, I'm like, how's Matip finishing like this? What's going on?
The thing is with City though, and why I'm not too harsh on the points of drops, because what is it? They drew with Palace and Southampton and lost to Tottenham, right? They weren't very good against Tottenham. That's one of their worst performances of the season, especially defensively. They were horrible. But against Southampton with a better team for about an hour. That last half an hour, Southampton couldn't get out of their box, right? So on another day, City get that. Again, in the Palace game, Dee was there. A couple of my friends were there. Kev, Kong, a couple of my people then were there. On another day, Bernardo Silva's not missing that. Mahrez is not driving over. You get what I'm saying, Buffs, and they were the one there. So I'm not going to hang on that. The Palace result would be like, oh yeah, drop points there, because actually they created enough chances to batter them. But this is going to be interesting. It's very, very tough to call and go either way. So if you're on the pod now, I'm going to say City, but that's just only by a point. Don't be surprised if Liverpool win the league. You know what I'm saying?
But those two teams are over the last 4 or 5 years, they have been traditionally the bogey teams for the big clubs. Southampton, Palace, you only have to look at their recent record. They are, on their day, they can beat anyone in the league.
Last couple of years, I'll throw Brighton in there for Liverpool as well. I think Brighton match up very well with Liverpool in terms of the style and what they play. So, but Newcastle are going to have a say in this race. They are going to have a say in it. That's all I'm saying. This will probably go down to the last day again, and I'm gonna not be able to move.
AC got more difficult last game.
I don't know who they've got last game.
I know we've got Wolves, so I'd say we are. I'd say we are. We've got Wolves, and I'm not sure about that, but we shall see. City have got
Villa at home.
Villa.
West Ham away.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry.
Home to Villa.
Villa at home. Villa at home.
Stevie G would want to do Liverpool a favour.
How could I forget that? That's been the narrative all the time that Stevie G
Yeah.
won the league. Yeah, goodness me. See, you get brain freeze when you're doing it live on the pod, you know. But yeah, right. So excellent then. So we'll readdress this at the end of the season when we give out our awards. We'll see. Actually, we'll probably do the one where we go through each team. Actually, that was really fun when we did that with Stel a couple of years ago. Still on these alternative picks for the player of the season. So we'll leave that there. We'll readdress it at the end of the season. We'll go through each team, their best performer, and we'll do our overachiever and underachiever of the season, etc., and give out our other awards. So we'll leave it there. So remember, listeners, hashtag DD Footy Pod on the Twitter. If you've got anything to say about the pod or any questions to ask the crew here, at DD Footy Pod is the Twitter page for just the podcast, but you can holler at us on at DD Footy Factory _, which is the main page for the radio show and anything else that Footy Factory does. That's at DD Footy Factory _ on Twitter and on Instagram. And we are D&D Footy Factory on Facebook. And what else are we on? Oh, goodness me, I can't remember. Right. Catch us on any of the playbacks you might be watching on YouTube, for instance. All the podcasts and the radio shows go on our SoundCloud. That's D&D Footy Factory on the SoundCloud as well. And Undershoot the Defense, we are on Spotify, Apple Music, Audio Boom, we're everywhere. Castbox, we're everywhere. Just search D&D Footy Factory on there. My handle is at Dubul Dee. That's DUBULDEE. D?
Yeah, my socials on everything is illphenomenal25. That's phenomenal F, and if you can't spell it, you can't follow me. So, but yeah.
Big Sammy.
My handle on Twitter is Big Sam A79, and on Insta is at Sam the Man Who Can.
Cool. Jabroni.
That's all, folks.
That's it, isn't it? He's not on Twitter, isn't it? He's not on Twitter.
But I would like to thank all the housewives who have made their day being on this podcast. I'd like to thank all the people that acknowledge me. You're welcome. I'd like to thank all my followers in North London. King of the North is here.
Oh, wow.
That's it. That's all I got right about now.
I think you'll find the King of the North is the man I'm about to ask for his socials now, though he doesn't like doing it. Uncle.
I need to week. Can I go now?
Oh, wow. Wow. Goodness me.
The King of the North has decorum, but there you go.
Can the other...
North London and decorum, they don't go together.
I'm bringing a certain level of class here still. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Uncle, plug your shit.
Fucking hell, the podcast, Shoot Defense Media Network. We have several shows on that platform. One being the D&D Footy Factory, another one being the No Choftes podcast, the greatest Cypriot football podcast. We've had several death threats in the last year, which is beautiful. And yes, that's it. That is pretty much it, man. Thank you for having me on and listening to my rants about my useless English team.
Feels good that someone else is ranting, man. Feels good.
You Man United fan, bro. Fuck Man United. Man United shit.
Right, so that's it, people. We'll be on your radios, well, this Saturday and every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Top FM 95.5 FM.
Tune in radio for people in North London.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. For North London and out further, best to use the Tune In Radio app or the Simple Radio app. But yeah, every Saturday we're on your radio with our nonsense from 10 a.m. until midday. So thank you very much for listening, people. We are out with episode 20.
Peace.